you have a 100% survival rate of all the changes. And if you look at yourself now, if I look at myself now and I think about myself a few years ago and like the millions of changes that made me the person I am now versus the person I am then, I mean, sorry to be that person who's going to be so annoying to say this, but like I'm grateful for every freaking one of them.
Yo, I'm Bryce the Third.
And I'm Liz McKean.
And you are now tuned in to the Rise, Recover, Live podcast. Here we dive into all the recovery stories from around the world.
And we talk about all pathways because there's no one right way to recover.
If you've been with us for a while, you know how powerful stories are. So get ready for your community to get just a little bigger today.
We are so glad that you're here. Let's get into the show.
Liz, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing.
You doing times 4. I think you doing 3 times more than I'm doing. I'm just doing for real. The sun is out though. Is the sun out by you?
Here too. It is. Yeah, it's delightful. Yesterday the sun was out and it was beautiful, but it was like 30 degrees. The wind was really cold. So today the sun's out and it's like 60 degrees because it is Rochester, New York, and things change like that. It's supposed to be like 80 tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like we have similar climates because I think the last I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before that where we didn't even know that the first day of spring had happened.
It was like a month ago.
I think it's today, right? Isn't it? It's like spring happened a month ago.
Yeah.
Snap.
Well, honestly, somebody tell the weather because I disagree. Agree to disagree, calendar.
Yeah.
But it feels like spring today, which is delightful.
You gotta love it. The sun is out. Yesterday I was on the lake, chilling with all the animals, and it is. I feel like it's I won't say it's officially like summertime because I don't want to piss no weather guides off or anything like that. But I think we're in the space. I will say, it was about a week and a half ago. I took my snow brush out of my car. It was a gamble. It was a risk, but it was also a bet. I was betting on the weather being stable enough to where I don't have to scrape ice off of my windshield. And that is what comes along with embracing, hoping for, and preparing for the way that things change, and hoping that I have all the equipment to show up for what comes next. That's
a bet on yourself too, because if I took my scraper out of my car, I would never I'd have to buy a new one next year. Like the chances of me putting that in a place that next year me would remember that this year me put it in is 0%. So I think that's a bet on the weather. That's a bet on the tools. It's a bet on yourself. I'm impressed on every level.
Well, thank you. I'm also energetic, so I'm like super energy focused. So just having a snow brush in my car, I feel like I'm putting off the wrong type of energy. So what I did was took my snow brush out the car, put the picnic blanket in the car, I put the frisbee in the car, I put the hammock in the car. So that's just the energy that I'm driving around with now. It's like a instant camp out party wherever I go. Good
vibes.
Yeah,
I like it.
If it snows 2 inches tomorrow, then I don't know what to tell you.
And you screwed with the vibes.
I screwed up the freaking vibes. Speaking of vibes, I don't know why this is speaking of vibes, but my guy James from Tulsa, Oklahoma, reached out to us, Liz, and shout out to everybody who listens to the show and have been sending in questions for us to, just toss around. And we're not an expert on anything but our experience, but just to, share some of the things that we've learned throughout the time that we've been on Earth and in the rooms that we've been in and in our own personal lives. James says, and James is from Tulsa, Oklahoma. James says, everything is changing and I hate it. How do you deal with the constant changing in life when you're in recovery or change of life? So I'm guessing like or intentional living, but like how do you deal with like the things that change continuously when you're in recovery? And I'm assuming, there used to be a certain type of way James may have coped with the way that life changes. And now like things are still changing, but we no longer use those maybe self-defined destructive coping mechanisms to show up for it. And now the change feels probably different, raw, and all that good stuff. So, how do you deal with change, especially if you like James and you do not
Hate it.
like the change that you're experiencing.
Well, this feels super like relevant for our conversation we had last time. It was you and me talking when we were talking about adapting, I think. Isn't that?
Adaptation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say first to refer back to that episode, not that we like answered the question so much, but we definitely talked about it a lot. And I don't know. I think I need to phone a friend. I think you want to go first on this one.
Is that an option? Can I phone a friend? Yeah.
I just made it one. Also, I'm sorry. I just have to say this because there's got to be somebody that listens to this podcast who is as much a Friends fan as I am. So like Tulsa, like you know how they say that Tulsa is the Paris of Oklahoma, and
All
fill in
your
the
friends'
blanks.
friends, all
Yeah.
your friends are rejoicing right now.
Oh my god, I know. I literally I don't know if I would know of Tulsa except for the fact that it was part of that storyline, and I got a soft spot in my heart for Tulsa. So James, we're friends. All right, Bryce, give him the answer.
Well, I don't have an answer. Also, shout out to all of my people who know Tulsa from some other shit, and Tulsa is not the best shit. So it's okay. Now we gotta do it. Now we gotta do it. So I don't know if you ever heard of like the Tulsa, Oklahoma, like the Black Wall Street. It was like a fucking massacre. You
Oh
know,
my
like it was.
god.
Yeah. So it was one of those. We got cities. We got one here in Detroit. It was called Black Bottom, in Paradise Valley, and they ended up doing was it a reconstruction or something like that, where he built this useless freeway 375 over it. And it's like we need it's advancement, it's da da da. But in all actuality, it was just like let's destroy the black prosperity and the black wealth in Paradise Valley and Black Bottom,
I've
right?
heard that story.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, it used to be called Black Wall Street, self-sustaining black wealth, black economics, and somebody made up one of them stories, whatever. Somebody, oh, you looked at my wife or you whistled at my da da da, and they came in, fucking burnt it down, destroyed it, right?
I've definitely heard that story too. I read that and like it was one of those things that like they took out all the textbooks and stuff. Like that's some bullshit.
Now there's a comic book called The Watchmen. It's a graphic novel, and I like graphic novels, especially ones that are like more mature in subject and deal with like superheroes. But who watches The Watchmen? Like, how do superheroes deal with being superheroes and morality and all type of stuff like that? Anyways, read the graphic novel. Then years later comes out this adaptation, this TV adaptation of the graphic novel, and it's called Watchmen. Of course, but it takes like a different spin on the book. It wasn't like a straight to from the book show, and so they added new characters, and it was in a new time period and all type of stuff like that. And it starts with like this reenactment of the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing, because one of the main characters' granddad was like a kid there, and then so somewhere she goes to this museum, and like there's a hologram, and she talks to the hologram and like the details that it gave about the event that happened. I'm like, wait a minute, this is too real. And so I Googled it, and that's how I found out about Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
I was maybe 32.
Yeah.
And I found out about Tulsa, Oklahoma through a TV show. Like
Yeah.
it was like, why am I finding this out through like entertainment and media? Like what is going on? But
I
that's
for sure found it on Instagram a couple years, like within the last couple years. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you. Like that was not something I learned, and also I didn't connect it with Tulsa, so now I'm feeling bad about talking about it being a friend's reference.
And both things could exist at the same time. And I just kind of like the reason I wanted to put that out on the platform is because I think that's what's dope about this show. I think that's what's dope about recovery. I think that's what's dope about me and Liz as friends, is that like we are two different people with two different perspectives and two different experiences. And you got to understand, like, everybody you're surrounded by is having different experiences that led them to who they are today. And some of my best connections, especially Liz. I was gonna say Liz included, but like especially Liz. Like there's moments like this where I can pull out some of those things and share like my experience, and so and listen and hold space for her experience, so we can connect. So when I need to exhaust Liz as a option for showing up for change in my life, Liz has context as to like how different my experience is, and you know, if she loves me, like she shows up and holds space, knowing the experiences that I've had, and can really hold me and use her ability to specifically show up for me to, I don't know, help me walk through, hold my hand, or like help me just be a person as I walk through the changes in life. You know, and doesn't that sound way more involved than, you know, hey bro, let's go to the bar and get a beer, you know, and no knock to that, but it's just like these are the deeper relationships with people and the world around me and community around me that allows for me to like show up as life changes and the rug comes up from under me, because you know that's that's kind of what life is like. I feel like life has continuously pulled the rug up from under me, and then I fell onto another rug, and then I stood up, and then some like life pulls that up. I fell, and after a while, it's just like you just kind of get used to. All right, I'm gonna fall on the rug, and this rug is, you know, and not in the way that the other shoe is gonna drop, but in a way that that's the nature of life. Like things change, things change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I love the, I mean, it feels like a vote for allowing yourself to be seen, you know, that to like one of the things we talked about in the adaptation episode was about like, I don't know, kind of preventative support rather than relying on an emergency button in the moment, even though sometimes that's just where you're at. Um, but I feel like, yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like having relationships that you trust to sustain through changes, even if that, you know, one of them, the most important one being the relationship with yourself, like requires, I mean, like a level of vulnerability so that when the thing's happening, like you, I don't know, have like some knowledge about yourself or the people around you have some, like you said, like context about how you might uniquely be experiencing this change. And um, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I just feel like how many episodes have we had where it comes down to, you know, community and, you know, being connected and it's not, you know, the thing that makes everything all better every single time, but it sure makes the constant of change more, I don't know, survivable. You know, like this the life that we all are, whether we like it or not, in right now. It's, yeah, there's a lot of change and there's a lot about it that I hate too, James. And then there's also the flowers that are blooming, and that feels like a miracle, and that's a change that I'm all here for. And I guess sometimes you can't have one without the other, so maybe it's finding
Yeah.
that perspective and also giving yourself space. I have to give myself space to have a freaking temper tantrum sometimes, and like literally like send an email to a podcast and be like, I fucking hate these changes, what do I do about it? Like, hell yeah to sending us that note. Is my answer.
Well, I think that the tantrum is
Oh yeah, and I wasn't
is
necessarily calling it a tantrum that you were having. I'm just saying I
no.
like
I
to have
mean,
tantrums.
I'm sure James is happy that you called it a tantrum. But I mean, I'm speaking like on, and the reason I use air quotes is because like, well, like tantrum has a negative connotation. Maybe, you know, you think of like a 2-year-old in the middle of Myers, because we don't shop at Target right now, but in the middle of Myers, like throwing a fit, and as it can feel that way when you're a grown person. And life isn't going the way that you would like it to, and it's just like, I don't want to do anything that brings a solution to this. I just want to like complain.
Hmm.
Right. But sometimes I think we don't acknowledge how important the complaints are to discovering a solution. You know, I think we can get stuck let me speak in I statements. I think I can get stuck in complaining and pointing at and giving placing fault on things that aren't in my control. I can get stuck in a loop of that, and then that becomes disempowering. And I think I'm because of my makeup or whatever makes me who I am. Like I'm just more prone to getting stuck in that loop, so I stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's times where it's like I allow it because what are reviews? This is a 5-star reviewed podcast. I appreciate you all. We love you all. And if we weren't delivering what it is that you all found valuable, I would expect you to give us less than 5 stars. If there's food or a restaurant that opens up, when it opens up, you go. If you have a great experience, you may review it, you may not. But if you have a bad experience, you probably definitely gonna give it a negative review, and then that business owner has the opportunity. Also, try not to give negative reviews. Like talk to the business owner first, but the business owner has the opportunity to take that feedback and improve along with the instructions of what it is that the feedback that you gave.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are the manager of our own lives, and if we don't even know our complaints, then how can we improve? And there's outside entities that, like friendships, where it's like, hey, I've been wanting to say something here because I love you, and I want to share something with you. And I, I don't know if you know it or not, but like you have a tendency to such and such, and I really want to share these things with you, but I haven't because I I project that if I share this, then you're gonna give me such and such, and that's not what I need right now. What I need right now is I need your ear, and I need your ear specifically because of how you've cared for me and you've shown me that you care for me. And like that's a complaint. That's we look at it as tantrum, but like that's a complaint with constructive nature that allows for our life to improve and move in a positive direction alongside the change that's happening in life, so that we can build out our advocates, our friends, our family, the spaces, our community, the resources, the books, the podcasts, whatever. Like we can continue to get around those things that can support us throughout the ever changing experience that we have in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like I'm just going through the little like file cabinet of all the changes that I've experienced over the past, I don't know, year or so, and the ones that actually, now that I'm in my file cabinet as I'm making this little doing this little research experiment in real time, I'm thinking, the changes that I am like, yeah, those are great changes. Many of them are because I did them. I made those changes, like
Mm.
it feels great when you're the one, driving the ship. And then the ones that I wasn't so much in control of, those are the ones that feel hard.
Mm.
And also, I survived it. And a lot of them are, I wouldn't be here if they hadn't happened, and I think, and I think in the midst of some of the ones that were less comfortable, um, finding, an anchor of things that aren't changing in that moment is also helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Like your love for ice cream, or your love for working out, or your love for the sun. Like those are things that, just speaking of myself, like I don't know
Yeah.
if those things are going to change.
Yeah.
And those are things that I can fall upon when there's a lot of stuff that's shaking around, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know if we talk about, especially like within a realm of like behavioral health, recovery specifically,
Mm-hmm.
because of how important it is to kind of be gung ho for a while. Sometimes for people, I know for me, like on the front end, when I first came into recovery, it was very important for me to be like, hey, this is utilize all my tools, like black and white. I can't think about that, it, it, and there's been times where my recovery would kick in and like work to immediately reframe for the positive, find compassion and understanding for all parties involved, and really discover the meaning of what's happening as it's happening. And sometimes I've learned that I just gotta let it happen. Sometimes there's been a lot of times where it's like my thing. Well, there's got to, one of the more comical experiences I had was when I had an ant infestation at my apartment, and I make content on social media, and so I remember making a video like about what's going on and filming the ants. They made like a surprise cameo in the film, and just kind of like, and so this is what's going on, and this is what this means, and this is how I showed up, and this is why everything that happens to us is important. And then that night I went to sleep, and these motherfuckers was in my bed, like, nibbling on me and throughout the night, and like I wanted to be dissatisfied. Like I wanted to be dissatisfied without a resolution, because I wanted to just complain. Like, this sucks. And in that felt like holding myself. And I think I ended up talking to somebody like, yeah, bro, like that absolutely sucks. But that was one of the somebodies that I wouldn't call because I felt like I couldn't hold a double that sucks. I could only hold the that sucks coming from me. But in that moment, in that reframe, it's like, oh yeah, I just need a space to just be like, that sucks. I was able to call that person and like, yeah, that sucks. And it felt like validation, And so sometimes in recovery, in behavioral health, in personal development, we can build this tool that disallows us from having like this human experience that we deserve if we desire to like put it down for a second,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think, yeah, if that's the moment that you're in right now, I mean, let us be the first to validate alongside you. That sucks. Like, so sorry. That sucks, man. If there's ants in your bed, that freaking sucks.
And you a Buddhist too? Well, no, I wasn't a Buddhist, but I was like really Buddhist leaning, and so it's like, and I don't want to kill them. It was like a whole. So the solution was I vacuumed them. I put them in I vacuumed them up. So I didn't kill them, and then I threw the vacuum bag in the trash dumpster. So if they got out, I didn't kill them. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Seems like a good happy medium for you and the ants. Oh my gosh. I guess the last thing I have to say about change that sucks is that you have a 100% survival rate of all the changes. And if you look at yourself now, if I look at myself now and I think about myself a few years ago and like the millions of changes that made me the person I am now versus the person I am then, I mean, sorry to be that person who's going to be so annoying to say this, but like, I'm grateful for every freaking one of them. You know what I mean? Because here I am and I want to be here right now. And I'm so glad I'm this person. And those changes, the good ones, the bad ones, the in between, they got me here. And yeah, there'll be a moment that you're looking back on this time where it's just been uncomfortable and you've either been, vacuuming ants or screaming into a pillow or, maybe philosophizing about why this is happening for you and versus to you or all those things. Like, whatever, this moment will pass and you're going to be okay.
You got one hell of a track record for you to be here. And then James, you are aware enough of the experience of resisting change that you wrote into one of your favorite podcast shows. I'm assuming we're your favorite. Maybe you just.
I was just gonna. I cut my hair, so I can't really do the hair toss that I wanted to do in that moment. But
when you write to a podcast, we got to be one of your favorite. We got to be one of your favorite.
Either that or it's my hair he's talking about, and he's like, she cut her hair, everything's changing, I hate it. And now we're his least favorite podcast. Sorry, James.
That's probably exactly what it is.
What's that Carly Simon song? I bet you think this song is about you. Yeah, I don't know what my vibe is today. I'm sorry.
No, I feel like it's been a while since we had a Liz solo on the podcast.
Oh, then
it's been.
What can I say except you're welcome? Oh, that's cute.
I wish we had the. I wish we.
The
had to find the
applause.
applause buttons.
I'm glad we don't.
But yeah, I think I'll cap out with having the awareness puts us a cut above somebody who doesn't. I've been multiple versions of myself, and I know there were a lot of versions of me that didn't have the awareness of like this experience I was having of being discontent in relation to how things were going. I didn't know that. I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to say that, and because I didn't know how to say that, I didn't know how to ask for help within that. And now I can see it. It's almost like, the fish in the water. How's the water? What water? I can see the water now in a way where when I'm frustrated or when I'm angry or when I don't like it or when it sucks and it's not how it used to be, I can see that that's the experience that I'm having. And when I can see that that's the experience that I'm having, then I can show up for myself within that experience. And I can ask for the resources. I can listen to the podcast. I can go where the conversations are happening around how to show up for that experience. And so kudos to you, James, and everybody else who may be able to relate to like knowing that they don't like change because you know it, you're aware of it, and so you can show up for what you need in a way that can show up and learn more of what you need. And we are absolutely privileged to be a part of maybe what you need, what you desire, what you care about, what you listen to, because obviously you made it this far. And if you made it this far, you are our people. We love you. And hop on the New Form app. Go download the New Form app and pop in the podcast space. We got some pretty big changes coming up here soon, and you want to be aware of them because you want to be able to continue to talk to us. Also, you all have been kind of going crazy on Spotify too. I don't know, Liz, if you know that they got that. There's a Spotify. If you listen to our podcast on Spotify, you can go on there and leave comments on the actual show, and then everybody else who listens
I did not
to the
know.
show.
That's a change I am here for. Hell yeah.
Everybody else who listens to the show can see your comments and see us comment back to you. And so it's like it's a whole cool thing.
Check out Spotify. Yeah, and just another plug for that. It's a New Form community. I feel like that's one of the reasons that I really am excited about that particular tool because we've talked about this a million times, but like there are seasons of change within our lives, within recovery, within whatever journey that you're on. And, that the New Form app has resources, organizations, different like little subsets of community that I think can allow for that in one place because, it's nice to have like a constant of a, in this case of a platform, but, this is a time in my life I need recovery Dharma. This is a time in my life that I need to find a place to, sober house to live in. Oxford House is great for that. This is a time that I really want to learn how to be an active listener. I'm going to check out Seek Healing. And, you can allow those seasons to happen within, again, the constant of one tool. And I feel like that can be a metaphor for lots of other areas of life. And also it can just be a thing that you're like, well, I'm going to go download that app because it's cool. So
you gotta say it just like that too. Well, I'm gonna go download that app. You gotta say it just like that.
It's cool. All right, we better wrap this up. I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth next, but we're going downhill.
All right, you all stay allergy free, and we will catch you on the next time on the Rise, Recover, Live podcast.